Lieutenant Danny Pierce sat alone in the archive room of the Star Watch 7. His job was boring most days. He had to organize old files and records that nobody else wanted to touch. The dim blue lights hummed above him while he sorted through digital documents from decades ago. Earth had been part of the Galactic Coalition for 30 years now. Humans were the newcomers, the young species that everyone else watched carefully. Some aliens respected them, many did not. Humans were seen as too emotional, too quick to act, too unpredictable. Danny did not think much about galactic politics. He just wanted to do his job well and maybe get promoted someday. But today something caught his eye. The file was labeled Lunar Incident 224, classified. That was 43 years ago, before humans had even met aliens officially. Danny's fingers moved across the screen as he opened the file. He probably should not have, but curiosity got the better of him. What he read made him sit up straight. A spacecraft had crashed on Earth's moon. Not a human spacecraft, an alien one. The report said it was a Viridian research vessel. 3 crew members survived the crash. A human mining crew found them. The leader of the mining team was a woman named Helen Martinez. She had 7 others with her. The report said they kept the Viridians alive for 2 weeks, sharing their oxygen and food. The mining crew barely had enough supplies for themselves. 2 humans died. Their names were Jake Morrison Sr. and Linda Wu. Danny read it twice to make sure he understood. Humans had saved aliens before first contact even happened. Before anyone on Earth knew there was life beyond their solar system. But here was the strange part. The file was classified and buried deep. There was no public record of it, no mention in any history book. Nothing. Danny copied the file and went to find Commander Lisa Grant. She was the captain of the Horizon Runner, a diplomatic transport ship docked at the same station. Danny had met her a few times and knew she was smart and fair. He found her in the station cafeteria, drinking something that looked like coffee but probably was not. "Commander Grant, can I talk to you?" Danny asked. Lisa looked up and smiled. "Sure, Lieutenant. Sit down. You look like you have seen a ghost." Danny sat and showed her his datapad. "I found something in the old archives. I think it is important." Lisa read the file. Her expression changed from curious to shocked to angry, all in the space of 2 minutes. "This happened?" she asked quietly. "According to this, yes," Danny said, "but nobody knows about it. Why?" Lisa leaned back in her chair. "Classified by both sides, it looks like. Earth buried it. The Viridians never mentioned it." She scrolled through the file. "Do you know who these Viridians were?" "Just names. Kael'thar, Zenmora, and Thelvan." Danny paused. "Why would both sides hide this?" "Pride, maybe," Lisa said. "The Viridians are a proud species. They value logic and strength. Needing rescue from a primitive species would be shameful to them, and Earth was probably scared. We had just discovered aliens existed. Maybe our leaders thought admitting we lost people to save them would make us look weak." "But people died," Danny said. "Helen Martinez and her crew were heroes." "They were," Lisa agreed. "And nobody knows." She looked at Danny with sharp eyes. "Do you know what this means? The Viridians owe us. They have owed us for 43 years. Danny had not thought of it that way. In galactic politics, debts mattered. Species helped each other based on treaties and exchanges. Owing a life debt was serious. "What should we do?" he asked. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. "I want to investigate this more. Something feels wrong. If the Viridians knew about this, why did they never acknowledge it? And if they did not know, why did their government hide it from them?" Over the next few days, Lisa and Danny dug deeper. They found more classified files. They discovered that Helen Martinez had kept a journal. Parts of it were in the archives. She wrote about the Viridians as people, not aliens. She wrote about how scared they were, how one of them, Kael'thar, was young and reminded her of her own son. "She did not do it for politics," Lisa said as she read the journal entries. She did it because they needed help, that is all. Danny found something else. Commander, look at this. Kael'thar, the young Viridian they saved. I searched for that name in current records. And, Lisa asked, there is a Viridian scientist named Kael'thar working at the Coalition Research Station. He is about the right age to be the grandson of the one they saved. Lisa stared at the screen. Are you sure? Pretty sure. Viridian names pass down through families, and the timing works out. Lisa made a decision then. Danny could see it on her face. She was going to do something that might get them both in trouble. We need to tell him, she said. Kael'thar deserves to know his grandfather was saved by humans who gave their lives for him. The Earth government will not like that, Danny warned. This is classified. I know, Lisa said, but it is the right thing to do. And maybe the Viridians have been waiting 43 years for someone to finally talk about it. That night, Lisa sent a private message to Kael'thar. She kept it simple. She said she had information about his grandfather. She said it was important. She asked if they could meet. She did not know what would happen next. She did not know if she was making a terrible mistake. But Helen Martinez had not worried about making mistakes when she saved 3 aliens on a lonely moon all those years ago. She had just done what was right. Lisa decided she would do the same. The message was sent. Now all they could do was wait and see if Kael'thar would answer. Kael'thar responded 3 days later. He wanted to meet in person. Lisa arranged for him to come aboard the Horizon Runner when it docked at Coalition Station 7. Danny was there too, nervous and excited at the same time. The Viridian walked into the meeting room with careful, measured steps. He was tall, with greenish scales and large eyes that seemed to see everything. Viridians always looked calm, but Lisa thought she saw something else in his expression. Worry, maybe. Or fear. Commander Grant, Kael'thar said in perfect English. You said you have information about my grandfather. Lisa gestured to a chair. Please, sit. This might take some time. She told him everything. She showed him the classified files. She showed him Helen Martinez's journal entries. She explained how humans had saved his grandfather and 2 other Viridians 43 years ago. How 2 humans had died doing it. Kael'thar sat very still while she talked. Viridians did not show emotion the way humans did, but his hands gripped the edge of the table tighter and tighter. My grandfather never spoke of this, he said finally. His voice was quiet. He died 3 years ago. He never told anyone. The incident was classified by both governments, Danny explained. Maybe he was ordered not to speak of it. Perhaps, Kael'thar said, or perhaps he carried shame. In my culture, needing rescue is a weakness. Needing rescue from a species we considered primitive would be unbearable shame. Lisa leaned forward. Your grandfather was not weak. He was young and far from home, and his ship crashed. That could happen to anyone. I know that, Kael'thar said. But my people do not always think logically about honor and shame. He looked at the journal entries on the data pad. This human woman, Helen Martinez. She called my grandfather brave. She said he kept his crew calm during the rescue. She respected him, Lisa said simply. Kael'thar was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that surprised them both. There is more to this story, things you do not know yet. What do you mean? Lisa asked. Give me 2 days, Kael'thar said. I need to check something. Then I will come back and tell you everything. He left before they could ask more questions. 2 days later, Kael'thar returned. This time he brought someone with him. A human man named Kevin Ross. Kevin worked for Earth Intelligence and Analysis. Commander Grant, Kevin said, Kael'thar contacted me yesterday. I think you need to hear what I have been tracking. They all sat down together. Kevin pulled up charts and data on a big screen. For the past 20 years, I have been watching voting patterns in the Coalition Council, Kevin said. Whenever Earth faces a problem, something strange happens. Votes swing in our favor at the last minute. Resources we need suddenly become available. Trade disputes get resolved in ways that help us. That sounds like normal politics, Danny said. It would be, Kevin agreed. Except all of these interventions trace back to Viridian sources, not directly. They are always hidden, always deniable. But when you dig deep enough, you find Viridian influence behind them. Lisa looked at Kael'thar. Your people have been helping us? Yes, Kael'thar said. For 43 years, since the moon incident. My grandfather came home and reported what the humans did. Our government decided to repay the debt, but quietly. We could not acknowledge it publicly without admitting we needed rescue. So we helped in secret. But you said your grandfather never told anyone? Danny said, confused. He reported to our government in an official capacity, Kael'thar explained, but he never told his family. He carried the personal shame alone. Our government carried the collective shame by helping humanity in ways no one would notice. Kevin nodded. It explains a lot. For years I thought we were just getting lucky, but luck does not follow patterns like this. Why are you telling us now? Lisa asked Kael'thar. The Viridian scientist looked uncomfortable. Because I finally understand that we have been wrong. When you showed me Helen Martinez's journal, I saw something my people missed. She did not save my grandfather because she wanted something from us. She did not do it for honor or politics. She did it because he needed help. That is all. Yes, Lisa said. That is what humans do. But we Viridians did not understand that, Kael'thar continued. We saw the debt through our own culture. We thought we had to repay it secretly to preserve honor. We thought hiding it was the right thing. But now I see we were wrong. We turned an act of simple kindness into a political calculation. So what do you want to do? Danny asked. I want to meet the families of the humans who saved my grandfather, Kael'thar said. Especially Helen Martinez's family. I want to tell them what their relative did and how it changed everything. Can you help me find them? Lisa smiled. I think we can do that. It took a week to track down Helen Martinez's family. She had a granddaughter named Patricia who worked as an engineer on Mars. She also found Jake Morrison's grandson, also named Jake, who lived on Earth. Lisa arranged for them all to meet on Earth at a small park where Helen used to live. It was a warm day with blue skies and green trees. Patricia and Jake came, both looking confused about why they were there. Kael'thar told them everything. He showed them the classified files. He explained how their relatives had saved his grandfather. He told them about the secret help Viridians had been giving Earth for decades. Patricia cried. Jake looked angry. My grandfather died saving aliens and nobody ever knew, Jake said. Nobody thanked him? Nobody remembered? I remember now, Kael'thar said, and I thank him. 43 years too late, but I thank him. Patricia wiped her eyes. My grandmother used to tell stories about her time on the moon. She never mentioned aliens. She just said she learned that helping people was always the right choice no matter what. She was wise, Kael'thar said. They talked for hours. Patricia showed Kael'thar more of Helen's journals that the family had kept. Helen wrote about her life, her hopes, her belief that the universe was bigger than human problems and that kindness mattered more than fear. By the end of the day, Kael'thar looked different, more determined. I am going back to Viridian space, he told Lisa. I am going to tell my government that we have been repaying this debt wrong. The debt is not something to hide. It is something to declare proudly. The humans gave lives for us. The least we can do is acknowledge it. That might cause problems for you, Lisa warned. Perhaps, Kael'thar said. But it is the right thing to do. I think Helen Martinez would understand. He left Earth that evening. Lisa, Danny, Patricia, Jake, and Kevin watched his ship lift into the sky. What do you think will happen? Danny asked. I do not know, Lisa said. But I think things are about to change. She was right. 3 weeks after Kael'thar left Earth, everything went wrong for humanity in the galactic arena. The Krix Empire introduced a motion to the Coalition Council. They wanted to restrict human expansion into new territories. Their ambassador, a large warrior named Velkoth, argued that humans were too emotional and unpredictable. He said they acted without thinking. He said they could not be trusted with more space or resources. Ambassador Gregory Palmer fought against the motion. He stood before the council and talked about everything humans had accomplished. He mentioned the peace treaties Earth had signed. He talked about human contributions to science and art, but his words felt weak against the weight of galactic politics. Earth simply did not have enough friends. Too many species saw humans as useful but dangerous. The motion looked like it would pass. Lisa watched the council proceedings from the observation deck. Danny stood next to her, along with Patricia and Jake, who had become involved in the situation after learning about their relative's sacrifice. We are going to lose, Danny said quietly. I know, Lisa replied. Admiral Richard Stone, the commander of Earth's small fleet, stood nearby. He looked frustrated. We saved their lives 43 years ago, and this is how they repay us? By limiting our future? They do not know about that, Patricia reminded him. It was classified, remember? Maybe it should not be anymore, Jake said. Before anyone could respond, an announcement echoed through the station. An emergency session of the council had been called. By the Viridian government, nobody knew why. The observation deck filled with people. Something big was happening. The council chamber below was full. Every species had representatives there. Velkoth of the Krix looked confident. Gregory Palmer looked tired and worried. Then Kael'thar entered the chamber. But he was not alone. Walking beside him was an old Viridian wearing formal robes. Lisa recognized him from news broadcasts. Chief Elder Sorvoth, the leader of the entire Viridian High Council. The room went silent. Honored members of the Galactic Coalition, Sorvoth began. His voice was strong despite his age. Today, the Viridian people must correct a grave error, an error we have carried for 43 years. He gestured, and a large screen appeared behind him. It showed the old classified file, the crashed ship. The human mining crew, Helen Martinez and her team. 43 years ago, before humanity joined this coalition, before first contact was officially made, 3 of our people crashed on Earth's moon. They would have died there. But 8 humans found them. These humans had limited supplies, barely enough for themselves. Yet they shared everything. 2 of those humans died keeping our people alive. The council erupted in shocked whispers. Velkoth stood up. This is ancient history. Why bring it up now? Because it is not history, Sorvoth said firmly. It is a debt. A debt the Viridian people have owed for 4 decades. A debt we have repaid in silence and shame. Kael'thar stepped forward. I am the grandson of one of the Viridians who was saved. My grandfather carried shame his entire life for needing rescue from a species we considered primitive. Our government helped humanity secretly for years, trying to repay the debt without admitting it existed. We were wrong, both about the debt and about humanity. The screen changed. It showed pages from Helen Martinez's journal. Her handwritten words were clear even across the chamber. This woman led the rescue, Kael'thar said. Listen to what she wrote. The aliens are scared. They are far from home and hurt. I do not care if helping them breaks regulations. I do not care if it uses our supplies. They are people and they need help. That is enough. Kael'thar looked around the chamber. She did not help because she wanted political favors. She did not help because her government ordered it. She helped because it was the right thing to do. 2 humans died for that simple belief. Jake Morrison Sr. and Linda Wu gave their lives for people they had just met, for aliens they had never known existed until that day. The Viridians are known for their logic, Sorvath continued. But we failed to see the logic in humanity's greatest strength. They help first and calculate the cost later. Sometimes they help and never ask for anything in return. We interpreted this through our own cultural shame. We were wrong. He turned to face Velkoth directly. The Krix Empire claims humans are too emotional to be trusted. I say their emotions make them more trustworthy, not less. They feel empathy for strangers. They risk their lives for people they do not know. These are not weaknesses. These are strengths this council needs. Today, the Viridian Collective formally acknowledges our life debt to humanity. We declare eternal friendship with Earth, and we oppose any motion that restricts their growth or potential. The chamber exploded with voices. Some species applauded, others argued. Velkoth looked furious, but Kael'thar was not finished. There is more, he said loudly, and the room quieted again. I have spent the past 3 weeks investigating. I have found 17 more incidents like the moon rescue. 17 times over the past 40 years when humans helped aliens without expecting anything in return. The screen showed a list. A human doctor who treated an alien child at a remote station. A human cargo ship that responded to a distress call in pirate-controlled space. A human family who took in refugees from a war zone, small acts and large acts. All forgotten by the humans themselves. They did not record these acts for political gain, Kael'thar said. They did them because they saw people in need. Then they moved on. They did not even think to ask for gratitude. Ambassador Nixral from the Tilloran Collective stood up. The Tillorans were a peaceful species known for careful thinking. Ambassador Palmer, she said, looking at Gregory. Does your species even understand what loyalty means to the rest of us? Gregory looked confused. I am not sure I understand the question. For most species in this council, loyalty is transactional, Nixral explained. We help those who help us. We build relationships based on mutual benefit. But humans help even when there is no benefit, even when it costs them greatly. That is not just unusual. It is revolutionary. Another ambassador stood. Then another. Species that had been quiet before began to speak. They talked about human actions they had witnessed, small kindnesses, unexpected help, things they had noticed but not understood until now. The Krix motion to restrict humanity was not just defeated. It was withdrawn by Velkoth himself, who clearly saw the political winds changing. Instead, something else happened, something nobody expected. Ambassador Nixral proposed a new designation. She called it Keeper Species Status. It was a title given to civilizations that served as cultural protectors and mediators. It came with authority, with respect, with responsibility. The vote passed overwhelmingly. Lisa stood in the observation deck, stunned. Danny looked like he might faint. Patricia was crying again. Jake just laughed in disbelief. We wanted respect, Admiral Stone said quietly. I think we just got more than we bargained for. Gregory Palmer came to find them after the session ended. He looked exhausted but happy. The Council wants Earth to serve as mediators in several conflicts. They want us to help with cultural exchanges. They want us to teach other species about what they are calling the human approach to cooperation. Can we do all that? Danny asked. I have no idea, Gregory admitted, but apparently they think we can. That night, as they celebrated, Lisa could not stop thinking about Helen Martinez, a simple mining crew leader who had made one choice on a lonely moon 43 years ago, a choice that had just changed the entire political structure of the galaxy. Sometimes the smallest acts had the biggest consequences. Sometimes loyalty was not about contracts or agreements. Sometimes it was just about doing what was right and trusting that the universe would remember. President Marcus Webb stood in the Earth Command Center looking at 17 different screens. Each one showed a request from a different alien species. His head hurt. "They want us to mediate a trade dispute," his assistant said, pointing to one screen. "And this one wants help with a refugee crisis. This one needs cultural advisors. This one wants peacekeepers." "How many total requests?" Marcus asked. 47 in the past week alone." Marcus sat down heavily. Earth had wanted respect from the galaxy. They had gotten it, but respect came with expectations that nobody had prepared for. Dr. Ellen Brooks entered the room. She was Earth's leading expert on alien psychology and cultures. She looked as tired as Marcus felt. "Tell me what we are dealing with," Marcus said. Ellen pulled up a chart. "Most galactic species operate on what we call transactional loyalty. They help because they expect something back. They build relationships like business deals, clear terms, clear expectations. But humans are different." "How?" Marcus asked, though he suspected he knew. "We help first and worry about the return later. Sometimes we help and never ask for anything. To species that have built entire civilizations on calculated exchange, that is not just different. It is almost incomprehensible. They do not know what to do with it. So they are asking us to solve their problems because we help without demanding payment?" "More than that," Ellen said. "They trust us to be fair. When you help without expecting anything back, you have no hidden agenda. Other species see that now. They see us as neutral, as honest, as safe." "That is a lot of pressure," Marcus said quietly. "Yes," Ellen agreed. "It is." Lisa Grant was dealing with the same pressure. She had been put in charge of something called the Cultural Exchange Corps. Her job was to coordinate human efforts to help other species. The work was overwhelming. Danny Pierce had been assigned to lead a peacekeeping mission. He was currently on a transport ship heading to a disputed region of space where two species were close to war. He was 27 years old and scared out of his mind. "Why did they pick me?" Danny asked Lisa over a video call. "Because you found the file that started all this," Lisa said. "You are part of the story now, and because you are young. They want to see what a regular human does when given responsibility." "I am not ready for this," Danny said. "None of us are," Lisa admitted. "But we will figure it out." Patricia Martinez had left her engineering job to help design refugee stations. She said it felt right, like continuing her grandmother's work. Jake Morrison joined a team investigating other forgotten acts of human kindness, documenting them for historical records. But not everyone was happy with Earth's new status. Velkoth and the Krix Empire were furious. They had lost influence and respect. The Krix were warriors. They believed in strength and power. Seeing humans gain status through compassion felt like an insult to everything they valued. Velkoth planned something. Something that would prove humans were not ready for their new responsibilities. Admiral Richard Stone learned about it through intelligence channels. The Krix were going to stage an incident. They would attack a neutral civilian station in a way that would force humans to respond. If humans responded with violence, the Krix could say, "See, they are just like us. They are not special." If humans did not respond, the Krix could say, "See, they are weak." "It is a trap," Captain Amy Fletcher said. She was Stone's best tactical officer. "Either way, we lose." "How long do we have?" Stone asked. 3 days. Maybe 4. Stone called an emergency meeting. He brought in Gregory Palmer, Lisa Grant, President Webb, and several military leaders. They argued for hours about what to do. "We have to respond with force," one general said. "If we do not protect civilians, our reputation is destroyed." "But if we use force, we prove the Krix right," Lisa argued. "We become just another military power." "What is the third option?" Amy Fletcher asked. "Because we need one." They thought about it. They looked at the problem from every angle. Then Patricia, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, spoke up. What did my grandmother do when she found the Viridians? Everyone turned to look at her. She put herself between them and death, Patricia continued. She did not attack anyone. She did not run away. She just stood there and said, "You will have to go through me to hurt them. Maybe we do the same thing." The room went quiet. "That is crazy," the general said. "That is human," Stone replied slowly. "And maybe that is exactly what we need to show them." They made a plan. It was risky. It might not work. But it was the most human solution they could think of. 3 days later, the Krix attacked. 6 warships appeared at a civilian station called Haven Point. 2,000 people from a dozen species lived there. The Krix demanded the station surrender and evacuate. Stone's fleet arrived within the hour. But instead of taking attack positions, the human ships moved between the Krix fleet and the station. They positioned themselves as shields. Then Stone broadcast a message on all frequencies. "This is Admiral Richard Stone of Earth Fleet. We are not here to fight you, but we will not let you hurt these people. If you want to attack this station, you will have to destroy us first. That is your choice. But know that the galaxy is watching." The Krix ships did not move. Velkoth responded angrily. "You think you can stop us? You have fewer ships, less firepower. You will lose." "Probably," Stone admitted. "But we will be between you and them until the end. Is that worth it to you? Killing humans who are protecting civilians? What will the galaxy think of that?" Hours passed. The standoff continued. Human ships stayed in position, their crews ready to die if necessary. Then something unexpected happened. Other ships began arriving. Viridian vessels came first, then Tiloran ships, then more species. They did not come to attack the Krix. They came to stand with the humans. Within a day, there were 40 ships from 15 different species, all positioned between the Krix and the station, all of them standing together. All of them protecting civilians. Ambassador Nixral sent a message that the entire galaxy heard. "The humans taught us something important. Real strength is not about being willing to fight. It is about being willing to protect. Today we stand with Earth. Attack them and you attack all of us." Velkoth faced a choice. He could start a war with half the galaxy, or he could retreat. He chose retreat. The Krix ships left. The crisis was over. Danny Pierce, watching from his own mission location, could not believe it. "We won by not fighting," he said to his crew. "No," his second officer replied. She was a veteran who had seen many battles. "We won by showing everyone what we are willing to die for. That is more powerful than any weapon." Back on Earth, Marcus Webb watched the reports. Dr. Ellen Brooks sat next to him. "This is going to keep happening," Marcus said. "More tests, more challenges, more species watching to see if we really are what they think we are." "Yes," Ellen agreed. "Welcome to being a keeper species. You wanted the galaxy to see humanity differently. Now they do. They see us as the people who help without asking why, as the people who stand between danger and those who need protection. We cannot disappoint them." "Can we live up to that?" Marcus asked. Ellen smiled. "Helen Martinez did. Jake Morrison Sr. did. Linda Wu did. They did it 43 years ago without thinking twice. I think humanity can manage it again." That night, Lisa visited the memorial that had been built for Helen Martinez and the others who died on the moon. More names were being added now. All the humans who had helped aliens over the years. All the forgotten acts of kindness that had led to this moment. She thought about loyalty, about how humans understood it differently than other species, about how that difference had changed everything. The galaxy had not predicted this. Nobody had predicted that simple human compassion would become the foundation of a new kind of political power, but it had. And there was no going back now. 6 months had passed since the Krix incident. Earth was different now. So was the galaxy. Danny Pierce stood on the bridge of his own ship. It was not a warship. It was a mediation vessel called the New Dawn. His crew was half human, half aliens from 6 different species. They were heading to their 3rd conflict zone this month. "We are approaching the Kelvin system," his navigator said. She was a young woman named Rachel from Earth's Pacific region. "Both sides are waiting for us." Danny took a deep breath. He still felt too young for this job, but he had learned something over the past 6 months. Nobody ever felt ready. You just did your best and hoped it was enough. The Kelvin system conflict was about mining rights. 2 species both claimed the same asteroid field. They had been arguing for 10 years. Now they were close to fighting. They had asked Earth to help solve it. Danny and his team spent 3 weeks there. They listened to both sides. They looked at old treaties and documents. They asked questions. They did not take sides. They just tried to understand what each species really needed. In the end, they helped both groups find a compromise. Neither side got everything they wanted. But both sides got enough. The conflict ended not with war, but with a shared mining operation. "How did you know that would work?" one of the alien ambassadors asked Danny. "I did not know," Danny admitted. "I just kept asking questions until I understood what you actually needed instead of what you thought you wanted. Then it was easier to find a solution." "That is a very human approach," the ambassador said, and Danny could not tell if it was a compliment or not. He decided to take it as one. Lisa Grant was working from a station called Unity Hub now. It was the headquarters of the Cultural Exchange Corps. Her office walls were covered with requests, schedules, and photos of all the missions her teams were running. Patricia Martinez came to visit her. Patricia was designing her 5th refugee station. This one would house survivors from a civil war in a system far from Earth. "My grandmother would not believe any of this," Patricia said, looking at all the activity. "I think she would," Lisa replied. "She saw people in need and helped them. That is all we are doing, just on a bigger scale." "It is exhausting," Patricia admitted. "Yes," Lisa agreed, "but it is also right, and that makes it worth doing." Jake Morrison was working with Dr. Ellen Brooks on a project documenting human-alien interactions. They had found over 100 incidents of humans helping aliens over the past 50 years. Most were small. A few were large. All of them had been forgotten until now. "Here is an interesting one," Ellen said, showing Jake a file. 20 years ago, a human cargo pilot named Chris Lee shared his last water rations with a stranded alien child. He nearly died of dehydration himself. The alien child grew up to become a senator in the Tilloran Collective. "Did Chris ever know?" Jake asked. "No. He died 5 years ago. Never knew he saved a future senator." Jake thought about his grandfather, Jake Morrison Sr. He had died saving aliens on the moon and never knew how that act would change the galaxy. There was something beautiful about that, doing good without needing recognition. "We should tell these stories," Jake said. "Not to brag, but so people remember that small acts matter," Ellen agreed. "That is what makes humans special. You do not calculate the impact before helping. You just help and trust that it matters." Meanwhile, Kael'thar had become a regular visitor to Earth. He was working with human scientists on joint research projects, but today he was visiting Helen Martinez's grave with Patricia. They stood in the quiet cemetery. The grave was simple. It said, "Helen Martinez. She helped because it was right." "My grandfather's memorial on Viridian Prime has new words carved on it now," Kael'thar said. "It says, 'Saved by human courage, honored forever.' The shame is gone. Now there is only gratitude." "I am glad," Patricia said. "Your grandmother changed everything," Kael'thar continued. "Not just for my family, for the entire galaxy. She showed us that loyalty does not need contracts, that kindness does not need calculations, that helping others is its own reward." "She would say she was just doing what anyone would do," Patricia said. "But that is not true," Kael'thar replied. "Most species would not do what she did. That is why it mattered so much." At the Coalition Council, things had changed too. Earth now had permanent seats on several committees. Ambassador Gregory Palmer was busier than ever. But he noticed something interesting. Other species were starting to copy human approaches to problems. They were asking, what would humans do when faced with difficult choices? They were considering compassion and empathy alongside logic and profit. It was slow. Cultural change always was, but it was happening. The Krix Empire had become quieter. Velkoth was still bitter, but he had lost too much influence to cause more trouble. Some younger Krix were even requesting to serve on human ships, wanting to learn the human way of thinking. "Do you think they will ever really understand us?" Captain Amy Fletcher asked Admiral Stone one day. "Some will, some will not," Stone replied. "But that is fine. We do not need everyone to understand. We just need them to trust that when we say we will help, we mean it." President Marcus Webb gave a speech 6 months after the Viridian Declaration. It was broadcast across the galaxy. 6 months ago, the galaxy learned something about humanity that we sometimes forget about ourselves, he said. That we help because it is right, not because it is profitable. That we protect the weak not to gain power, but because everyone deserves protection. That loyalty to us means standing beside people even when it costs us dearly. Some people ask if this is sustainable. Can we keep helping others when we have our own problems? Can we afford to be the galaxy's mediators and protectors? My answer is this: we cannot afford not to be. This is who we are. This is what makes us human. 43 years ago, 8 people on a moon made a choice. They chose compassion over orders. They chose lives over regulations. 2 of them died for that choice. Today, because of what they did, humanity has a new role in the galaxy. We are not the strongest species. We are not the smartest or the oldest, but we might be the kindest. And in a galaxy full of calculated exchanges and political deals, kindness is revolutionary. So to every human listening, remember Helen Martinez, remember Jake Morrison Sr., remember Linda Wu, remember that your small acts of kindness matter. You never know when helping one person might change the entire galaxy. The speech was watched by billions of beings across hundreds of worlds. It was translated into 70 languages, and it made people think. That night, Lisa, Danny, Patricia, Jake, Kael'thar, and many others gathered at a small restaurant on Earth. They were celebrating the 6th-month anniversary of what everyone now called the Declaration. "We still have so much work to do," Lisa said, raising a glass. "So many problems to solve, so many conflicts to mediate, so many people who need help." "Just like always, then," Danny said with a smile. "Yes," Patricia agreed. "Just like my grandmother. She saw work that needed doing and did it, one day at a time, one person at a time." "To Helen Martinez," Kael'thar said, raising his own glass. "And to all humans who help without asking why. You taught the galaxy something it had forgotten, that loyalty is not transactional, that kindness is not weakness, that doing what is right is always the best choice." They drank to that. Outside, Earth spun quietly in space, surrounded by ships from dozens of species, not invaders or conquerors, friends, allies, species who had learned that humans kept their promises and protected those who needed protection. The galaxy had changed because 8 people on a moon decided to share their oxygen, because they decided that lives mattered more than rules, because they chose compassion when logic said to walk away. Nobody had predicted it would lead to this. Nobody could have known that one simple act of kindness would reshape galactic politics. But that was the thing about human loyalty. You never knew where it would lead. You just knew it was worth it. Helen Martinez had understood that. So did her granddaughter. So did Jake Morrison Sr. and his grandson. So did millions of humans who helped others every day without thinking it was special. And now, finally, the galaxy understood it too. People of Earth remembered loyalty, and they repaid it in ways nobody ever predicted, not with treaties or contracts or political maneuvering, but with more kindness, more compassion, more help given freely to anyone who needed it. That was the human way, and the galaxy was better for it. Somewhere on Earth's moon, on the exact spot where a Viridian ship had crashed 43 years ago, there now stood a memorial. It listed 8 names, 3 Viridian scientists who had been saved, 5 humans who had helped them, 2 humans who had died for them. The inscription was simple, in both human languages and Viridian script. They helped because it was right. Let the galaxy remember. And the galaxy did remember, and would remember for generations to come. Because some acts of kindness are too important to forget. Some debts of loyalty reshape the future in ways that nobody can predict, but everyone can admire. That was the lesson Earth taught the stars. That was the legacy of Helen Martinez and all those like her. That was what made humanity special in a galaxy full of ancient civilizations and powerful empires. They helped first. They asked questions later. They remembered loyalty, and they repaid it with more kindness than anyone ever expected. The end.